Hey everybody, it's Dan Sfera and Don Walters, and we are from theclinicaltrialsguru.com. Once again, the best place on the internet for clinical trials content and information.
That's right.
We love interacting with you guys out there. And Nellie, somebody named Nellie on Facebook, asked me, what happens if someone's in a clinical trial and they get hurt or they experience some kind of adverse event to where they require hospitalization or other such type of medical care that the clinical trial is not prepared to deal with. And the answer is, if it requires hospitalization or anything else, the drug company, the sponsoring company who's doing that trial, is supposed to pay for it if it's directly related to the research.
Correct.
Which seems like the question that she had. If it's not related to the research study, and they will give you the benefit of the doubt usually, but if it's, they will usually pay for it. But if it's totally, not related to the trial, they won't. So that'll prevent people from abusing the system. But most people won't do that. Most people are honest, and they're gonna, if they get hurt and end up in the hospital, they want to make sure that the drug company is gonna pay for it. And they're supposed to, okay? But we've seen cases where people have been hospitalized, and the hospital, in that case, it's up to them to bill. And they don't necessarily know that the person's in a clinical trial, or they're just looking to get paid and reimbursed. And so they'll do the thing that is easiest for them, which usually means billing the insurance company of that person. And we've seen this happen. I know it's going on, and it shouldn't be. The drug company is supposed to be paying for that. So this brings in the insurance companies into the mix, and of course they don't want to pay for it. So they're becoming very hesitant to cover people's routine health care who participate in clinical trials, and this is definitely not a good thing for the industry. So we need to make sure that the drug companies are reimbursing injuries or hospitalizations that are a result of clinical trials. And they're supposed to, and the issue is not that they don't want to. The issue is usually that the hospital doesn't know what to do.
Right.
Or the hospital doesn't necessarily care. They just want to get paid fast, and they do it the best way they know how.
I think sometimes too, from working in the hospitals, is that because you're dealing with individuals, or sometimes obviously this gets tabled with management. Hopefully, and I know this is something that we did, or I was responsible for doing when I worked in a hospital. I was responsible for writing in the SOP, Standard of Operations Manual, exactly how the research company was to communicate and work with the hospital. And what happens is that you get people in these positions, and they're already set up. When you're working in a hospital, they have a system where they're already set up with billing codes for whether it's Blue Cross or Pacific Care or whoever it may be. And they have billing codes for Medicare, and then they have billing codes for Medicaid. And those are all set up. There's nothing set up for the pharmaceutical billing for the pharmaceutical companies. Usually what they would have to do is submit that bill to the investigational site and then have them get them reimbursed for that. But a lot of hospitals don't know this because they're not working directly with the clinical research companies or have never worked with them, and they're just as dumbfounded as anyone else is walking down the street on, what is clinical research? What are we supposed to do with this thing? And that's, I think, part of the problem is that they're not aware. If you're in a research company and you're working with the hospital, as Dan said, the pharmaceutical company should be paying for that if your hospitalization is a result of the investigational study that you're in. But again, it's going to, unfortunately, you're going to have to tell them that you need to contact this doctor or contact this place, and they can help you get reimbursed for my care.
Right. Now, if you're study participant or you're thinking about joining a clinical trial and you have this worry in the back of your mind that, hey, first of all, I don't want my insurance company knowing that I'm in a clinical trial because I don't want to be denied benefits, which, by the way, they should not know that you're in a clinical trial because your information is de-identified.
Right.
Just by enrolling in a clinical trial, no one will know that you're in it. So your insurance company will not know that you're in a clinical trial unless you tell them. Now, of course, if you're hospitalized, your insurance company is going to know that you're hospitalized, and then they may find out that you were hospitalized as a result of a clinical trial. Mm-hmm. They might find out. But anyways, if you're concerned about that, please know that, yes, even if you are hospitalized and they end up billing your insurance company, you are not helped. So if you do end up hospitalized as a result of a clinical trial and you find out that your insurance has been billed or you're even getting bills at your house, call the research clinic immediately. Correct. Let them know what's going on, and they're supposed to call the drug company and let them know, hey, here's the hospital where this person's being billed, this and that. And so the hospital then should be dealing with the drug company. But you got to be proactive sometimes, and you definitely need to call the research clinic and let them know what's going on. And I know this is true because I've done this as a site director. Mm-hmm. We've had people who, for whatever reason, have ended up in the hospital because of a clinical trial, and then they saw that they're getting billed. So they called me, and I called the hospital, and I put them in touch with the drug company, or the study manager from the drug company, and they were able to resolve the issue. Mm-hmm. But if you don't speak up, no one will be able to correct it. So, and if you still have problems, call your IRB, let them know what's going on, and they're the ones on your consent form that you can call also. They're looking out for your safety. Mm-hmm. And if you're still having issues, get a hold of myself or Don, and we'll take care of it. We'll call the research clinic for you.
Absolutely.
So, anything you'd like to add, Don?
No, I think you covered it, Dan. The bottom line is that, like I said, a lot of times hospitals don't know anything about how to bill the research company or who to bill, even when you tell them that you were involved in a study. They still don't know. And sometimes, again, you may get a person who's just handling the billing and that's it. And they know that they need to put something in the computer, and they'll probably just put the insurance information there. It's a lot easier for them, and they can just move forward with that. But again, if you're in a hospital and it's been determined as a result of the investigational study, then definitely, by all means, the pharmaceutical company would most likely cover that. So,
it's an important question, and thank you very much, Nelly, and hopefully it helps. This is Dan and Don signing off.
The Clinical Trials Guru. Again, that website is www.theclinicaltrialsguru.com.
Thank you very much.